The back side of the worksheet starts off similar to the front side. So this, for 1 and 2, you're writing in exponential form. So you would say 5 squared equals 25. And this one you would say 8 to the 1/3 equals 2. 3 and 4 you're writing in log form. So you would say log base 5 of 125 is 3. And then log base 8 of 1/8 is -1. For number 5, 6 to what power gives you 36? 2. For B, 9 to what power gives you 81? 2. For C, 7 to what power gives you 7 to the 10th? That would be 10. For number 6, 3 to what power gives you 1 over 27? That would be -3, because 3 to the -3 is 127, so I'll put it right here, -3. For letter B, 10 to what power gives you 10 to the 1/2, because that square root is 1/2, so that would be 1/2. For letter C, 0.2 is actually 2 over 10, which is 1/5. So 5 to what power gives you 1 over 5? -1. Okay, the next one, I can see it very clearly. Shoot, I can't. Alright, so 7, I know it's a little blurry on the screen, but I looked at the worksheet. What we do for number 7 and 8 is set it equal to x, because you're evaluating the expression. So I'm going to call it x. So I'm going to do the work up here. Okay, so I'm going to call it x equals 2 to the log base 2 of 37. And I'm going to change it to log form. I know you see log there, right? But it's still an exponential. It's 2 to some power equals x. So I'm going to change it to log form. So it becomes log base 2 of x equals the exponent. And when you compare the two sides, you notice that x has to equal 37. So the answer for 7a is 37. So for B, if you notice the similarities, you have this power raised to a log of the same power equals that number. So here's the same thing. Here's 3 to the log of base 3 of 8. So the answer for B would be 8. The answer for C would be radical 5, because it's e to a power of log of base e, which is ln. Okay, and so all three of those follow the same format that you have right here. You set them equal to x, change it to exponential, and you'll get x equals this, which is the number here on the exponent. Okay, now 8a is e to the natural log of, and it looks like 0 or box or something. So that one I'm just going to skip, because that one doesn't make sense. Because I think it's just a typo, so I'll just skip that one. For B, it's 10 to the log base 10 of 5. So the answer is just 5. And then C is 10 to the log base 10 of 87. So it's just 87. Okay? For number 9, I know the worksheet is, the screen is blurry, so number 9 is log base 5 of x to the 4. Of x equals 4. So you want to solve for x, so you write it in exponential, so this would be 5 to the 4th is x, so the answer would be 625. The next one is 10 to the x equals 1/10. That's 0.1. Okay, so that means that x equals -1. For A, it's 4 to the x is 2. So So 4 to the 1/2 is the square root of 4, which is 2. So it's going to be 1/2. For B, it's 4 squared equals 2. So, I'm sorry, equals x. So x is 16. For 11a, it says log base x of 1,000. So, that one is missing the equal. Equals what? Right? So, this one we can't really finish because it's not complete. It's not an equation. Letter B would be x squared equals 25. So x has to equal 5. Okay, for the next ones, we're going to use a calculator. Alright, so for 12 and 13, A through C, I just went ahead and plugged each one into the calculator, and this is what I got. Again, for this one, I just put natural log of 1 plus, just exactly as you see it there. And then I did the same thing for the others, and those are the answers. For 14 and 15, it's asking you to find the domain. Now remember, by definition, this number, the one next to the log, not the base, but the number next to the log, has to be greater than 0. Okay, not equal 0, but greater than 0. So you just set that part greater than 0, and that's what you see right here. And subtract 3, and you get x is greater than negative 3. So same thing over here. Okay, you set this part to be greater than 0, so that's what you have right here. Subtract 8, so you have that. Divide by negative 2, right here. So remember, whenever you divide by a negative, the inequality switches direction. So from x greater than, it becomes x less than. So x is less than 4. Okay, for 16 through 18, they want you to give the domain, range, and vertical asymptote, equation of the asymptote. So remember, logarithmic equations have a range of all reals. For all logarithmic equations, all of them. So if you notice all of them, I just went ahead and wrote that. The domain, you look at this part right here. So you always set it greater than 0. So what that gives you is that x is greater than 4. Right here you set this greater than 0, so that means that x is greater than 1. And right here you set this greater than 0, so because it has a negative, the direction switches over to less than. The asymptote is the h value, so the h is 4, the h is 1, and the h is 0. Okay, so here are the sketches. It says without plotting points. I had started this for 16, but they just want a rough draft, so like a rough graph. So here is number 16, asymptote at 4, and then it goes this way. Here's 17 with the asymptote at 1 at x equals 1, and it has a vertical translation of down to, so this one's a little bit lower. Okay, and then number 18 has a reflection of over the y-axis because the x is negative, so that's why it's flipped this way. Okay, and it has a vertical translation of 1, so it's up by 1 unit. Okay, so here's the curve. So 19, they want you to draw the graph of y equals 4 to the x, and here I have it. It's going through 0, 1, and 1, 4. And then use this graph to draw log base 4 of x. So remember, those are inverses of each other. So instead of 0, 1, we're going to draw 1, 0. And instead of 1, 4, we're going to have 4, 1. And it goes, whoops, missed that, like that. So there's a graph. So for number 19, 3 to what power gives you the square root of 27? So I wrote 27 is 3 cubed, and square root as 1/2 power. So remember, with exponents, power to power you multiply. So right here we multiply these two, and you get 3 over 2. So then that means that this has to equal this, which is 3 over 2. Number 20, they have the same base. So we're going to divide 160 by 5. So log base 2 of 160 over 5. Okay, so that's going to give you 5 goes into 15 into 6, 32, right? So log base 2 of 32. So then this equals 5. Because 2 to the 5th power is 32. Excuse me. Number 21. This is log of 4 times 25, which is 100. So 10 to what power gives you 100? The answer is 2. Number 22. You do the parentheses first. So natural log of e to the e times 200 is going to be, remember you put that to the, so this is going to be natural log of e times 200, like that, ln e, because remember this goes in the x as a coefficient of the log. Now natural log of e is 1, so that cancels out. So then you're left with natural log of e times 200. We can separate it as natural log of e plus natural log of 200, because I could write it using the properties of logs. I could separate this as a sum. And natural log of e is 1, so I have 1 plus natural log of 200. And that's as much as I can do without a calculator. Okay? Number 23. Again, the only thing, it's a z. There's nothing really you can do with this. So there's nothing to, I think this is another typo, because I got this from someone else, and it doesn't, this is, because it's a z, it's not a number, and it says evaluate, so we can't really evaluate that, so I'll just skip that one too. So that's 3 that we're skipping.